for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Street Stocks. They stack them up side by side, 12 cars deep. Out of turn number 4, green flag will fly, and we are underway. Saturday night short track racing from Wheatland, Missouri, here on MAV TV. Tim Brown out in front from the point, has James Flood on his outside. That low line works for Tim Brown extremely well. He will have Appleton City's The Flash, Johnny Fennewald, in tow, right in his tire tracks as they exit turn 4, completing lap number 1. And they just stay side by side. This is kind of a marquee event for these street stocks. It shows what they do whenever they can stack up side by side, lap after lap. We've seen it race after race here this season, and that means we're about a half a turn away from getting this one back underway. And Tim Brown will lead them to the green again. Going to be interesting to see how quickly Dereck Brown, who started back in 8th, can work his way up through the field. You see him there on the bottom line right behind Kenny Carroll. He has worked up a couple of spots already, and the big loser in this one is James Flood in that 42 as he gets pinched off by Johnny Fennewald, and then Kenny Carroll on the inside. He's going to battle for second as Tim Brown has now moved to the top side of the track. A 3-wide battle up in front. Splitting the wicket is the 2 of Johnny Fennewald, and he will go barreling off into turns 3 and 4, and he has given that street stock a good run, his first time behind the wheel of that number 2 this season.
Tim Brown cuts to the inside. The 2 of Johnny Fennewald on the outside with Kenny Carroll right behind him. And this normally late model driver, the 3-time defending track champion here in the Warsaw Auto Marine and RV ULMA late model series, is showing what he can do in a street stock, trying to shake this car down, get ready for the big buck later in the year. Shane, street stocks don't turn like late models. You don't drive them like late models. But Johnny Fennewald right now out in front of the pack looks like he drives one of these every Saturday night.
He has extended it out to a good lap, his 18.559, the fastest lap he's had, and he has stretched it out to well over a second. 3 wins in a late model this season, and there is a whole group of cars, again, 3 wide as Flood, a good run off the top of turn 2. Kenny Carroll drifts on back through the field, and here comes Dereck Brown, a 5-time winner here at Lucas Oil Speedway. He has worked his way up into a top 5, and he is going to continue to charge towards the front. Kenny Carroll, the next to go, a position down as Dereck Brown gets around the backside of him.
Brown takes over 4th, but Kenny Carroll doesn't want to give it up that easy. The birthday boy from Stoutland has only finished outside the top 2 spots once in 2020 here at the Diamond of Dirt tracks in that number 11 street stock. He has been the class of the field, but other people trying to move and make their way up there include Toby Ott. He's running the high line, and not sure that the high line has come in just yet. They're on the outside as your defending track champ falls back.
There you saw just a second ago the big movers. Dereck Brown up 4 spots. He now falls behind James Flood, looking for one more. Tim Brown doing a good job of hanging on to second, but he is under fire by James Flood right now in that 42. He had dropped back to 3rd, and now he has gotten back up to 2nd. All in the meanwhile, Johnny Fennewald just continues to pull away, almost a 3-second advantage now. Good fight here for second, a 3-car battle. Flood to the inside. Tim Brown, the father of Dereck Brown, 3-wheeling it around the top side as we have gone past halfway. Dereck Brown back in 4th, then mired back in a battle for 5th. That's Kenny Carroll in the 94, and Toby Ott looking to his outside. Boy, a great battle here, Corey, but with these 3 cars. You know, the history that Dereck and Tim Brown have here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Of course, Dereck was a former champion here back in 2016, all within 0.3 of a second, separating 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Tim slides into that 4th spot. Dereck moves up a spot and still cannot solve the riddle that is James Flood. Flood just catfishing that 42 around the bottom of the racetrack. Brown hasn't been able to get around him, but all the while, Johnny Fennewald has checked out. 4.2 seconds the advantage for the driver from Appleton City, Missouri. The late model driver, the 3-time champ here, is just cruising in that car normally driven by Colton Borland, and there's the rest of the field just giving chase. Nobody can catch the Flash right now.
The Flash has straight awayed the rest of the field. James Flood now up to second. Derek Brown sole possession of third. That's your side-by-side battle for fourth. Tim Brown on the top side of the track. Kenny Carroll to the low side. They call him a ditch digger for a reason. That's what he does for real life, but he also likes to hover around the bottom of the track. Tim Brown will have the advantage with a good run off of 2 this time around, as you still have 4 cars all bunched up there in a battle for second place. It is a race for second right now as the Flash is pulled out, again continuing to grow his lead over 4 seconds. The car itself that Johnny Fennewald is driving, typically ran by Colton Borland, another Appleton City native. That car right there is a home-built chassis, has a Mullins motor underneath the hood. It was actually traded with a Polaris Razor for that car, just an off-road UTV or ATV that was traded, and I think that's a good move up for Colton Borland. And Johnny Fennewald going to run this later on in the season in the Big Buck 50.
And if you're watching this on MAV TV and you haven't normally been to the track here in Wheatland and seen it, that's a car that normally doesn't have any stickers on it, just black car, blue number, that's it. And right now he's got a lot more stickers now on the side that faces the grandstand. And the battle continues back in the pack. Kenny Carroll, Tim Brown going back and forth in that battle for third. Derek Brown, James Flood go 1, 2, 3. That battle for fourth place right now owned by Kenny Carroll.
White flag will come out this time around as Appleton City's Johnny Fennewald sees it first. An entire straightaway back to James Flood, then Derek Brown, who did a good job of moving up 5 spots from 8th to 3rd. He drives a late model every single week here at Lucas Oil Speedway tonight behind the wheel of a street stock. He'll grab a big win in front of the packed stands here at Lucas Oil Speedway.
As they will see the orange cone in turn number 4, and the B-Mods will bear down. Richards taking his racing line at the bottom of the racetrack, but Long tries to pull up alongside him and will as they work their way through 3 and 4. Kris Jackson and the veteran Eric Turner behind them in 3rd and 4th, but already 2 cars collect. Got to do what you got to do. We'll see what Jake Richards does as the green flag drops, and immediately it's a good jump on the outside by Wesley Long, and he slides that black and white 80 into the top spot. Eric Turner in that 99T going to give it a run as they enter turn number 3. Turner to the bottom of the track with Richards right behind him rolling up his backside, but it will be Wes Long leading him around for lap number 1.
Again, Wes Long typically comes in another car, and with TJ Yount having a blown knee, Wes Long out of Greenfield, Missouri comes in, serves as a backup driver, won last week in another track. That's an Allen chassis, a self-built engine, sponsored by Precision Auto Service, and he has given it one heck of a ride. Eric Turner, another former winner here. He won last year. He's won here this year already. That's a Rubel power plant, sits 3rd in the point standings. Then you got Kris Jackson moving up the field. There's him on the top side, that white number 65 machine, your current point leader, a 2-time winner already this year. So there's something to be said for track familiarity when you got Eric Turner and Kris Jackson up front. And then there's just something to be said for being bad fast, and that's where Jake Richards fits in, as he's still having a great run, very fast during his heat race, and he is showing that he belongs in the top 5 tonight.
The top side of the racetrack starting to come in for J.C. Morton and Andy Bryan as it's side-by-side racing for the lead. Turner and Long running 1 and 2 with Kris Jackson 0.6 of a second behind him of the last time, and then running for the lead. Long loops it in turn number 4. Turner with Richards and Jackson behind him. Not sure if that one's going to stand up, Shane. No green flag in the air from the wheel. Will push his foot to the floor and take the green flag with Kris Jackson, the defending track and national champion, right behind him. Jackson almost exclusively runs around the bottom of the racetrack, and the man on the move here right off the green flag is J.C. Morton, racing from 5th to 3rd right now, depending upon the run that Richards gets off of 4, and he gets a good one. Richards will hold on to the number 3 spot, but you've got a 3-car battle for third as Kris Jackson tries to rein in the 99T of Eric Turner. There's Richards, Morton, and Fort Scott, Kansas's Andy Bryant, all there third, fourth, and fifth.
Haven't mentioned much about Andy Bryant so far in this feature. He's a 2-time winner, sits 6th in the point standings. Had a handful of DNFs on the season, but that's a young man that has over 100 career victories underneath his belt. He was the 2016 BMOD Ironman champ, and as we talk about him, he gets jinxed by the announcer, shouldn't make that plural.
Oh, I do it too. you know I'll take the blame with you, partner. Yep, unfortunately, the driver from Fort Scott, Kansas, who has collected almost 9 wins at 3 different tracks this year, sets anchor after he nearly turns it around, and he will have a lot of work to do. Meanwhile, Kris Jackson creeping closer and closer underneath the 99T of Eric Turner. Jackson, 65, the driver from Lebanon, Missouri, has wheeled that race car not once but twice to victory lane this season. And now, Shane, he is just about a third of a car length behind him. Jackson continues to go the shortest way around the racetrack, sticking that 65 to the bottom.
And this has not been your typical year for Kris Jackson. No. Last year, he won 8 times here at Lucas Oil Speedway all alone, and now he's side by side with Eric Turner. He's got 8 wins on the season. He has a brand new car. He waited until a couple of weeks into the season to be able to get it on the track, and now you can see the fruits of his labor. It took a little while for him to get this car dialed in, and now he won last night at another track. He's won a handful of times here at Lucas Oil Speedway, and he has finally found that horsepower that he had last year.
That Rubel Racing engine normally generates all the horsepower Kris Jackson needs, but it's a pair of Rubel-powered race cars that are leading this race right now, and it's Jackson who jumps out in front now with 12 laps in the books to lead for the first time tonight. Jackson will slide his 65 up in front of Eric Turner. I'll tell you who's not going anywhere, Shane, was kind of your pick from the opening bell tonight, Jake Richards. You said when we saw him in the pits, do not sleep on the 7J.
Well, whenever you just look at his resume and how he's done this year with those 9 wins, all at different tracks, it's almost as though, and Kris Jackson's kind of the same way, there's no real bad track for him. There's no real bad track for Jake Richards either. He's now 0.3 seconds behind your race leader as he has gotten around Eric Turner to get that second spot, and now he's only got 5 laps to reel in the 65. All that battling that Eric Turner and Jake Richards did for second has allowed Kris Jackson to get out in front by almost a full second now, so it's going to be tough for anybody to catch up with the 65.
J.C. Morton just kind of laying there in the weeds behind Richards and Turner, riding in fourth. And how about Andy Bryant? He nearly went sideways in the middle of the turn earlier, and he's able to right the 28 and bring it back. Now, as you look at the car owner of the 28, the 181 of Luke Neiman, the Neiman Motorsports entry, racing with Dayton Pursley. There you see some of the biggest movers of the night. J.C. Newell and Luke Neiman there in the 181. He's picked up 8 spots. Right now, the only question is there enough laps or enough time for Richards to try and catch Kris Jackson? Jackson's lead now down to 0.764 seconds. And now Kris Jackson having to deal with the great equalizer, lap traffic. That will give Richards an opportunity to try and catch the 65.
And he has been able to knife into that lead. He's cut it in half. It was 0.8 seconds. Now it's down to 0.4 seconds with 2 circuits remaining. This is going to be a battle by the time it's all said and done, as he has now gotten on the back bumper and a spinner right in front of Kris Jackson. Have the preferred line on this restart.
Single file restart. Can Jackson get away clean? It looks like he does as he takes the green flag. Richards races to the top of the racetrack, trying to get a good run off the top of turn number 2, and Jackson slides up in front of him. Richards to the bottom of the racetrack now, right on the back bumper of the 65 of Lebanon, Missouri's Kris Jackson, as he sees the white flag. one more time around for the defending track and national champion. But can he keep the 7J behind him? No, Richards races to the inside now. Puts the nose to the inside of the 65. They'll run off of turn number 4. Jackson on the high side, and Kris Jackson will race his way to the checkered flag the 3rd time this season.
Hedrick siding in windows as the field will roar to life in this one. Off of turn 4, and we are underway. Wettengill in that purple number 91 on the low side has Brett Heater right behind him, is now the 14 of Dereck Agee. A good run off of turn 2 will stay side by side with your leader. Those top 6 cars there in your screen, that's how they started the race, and that's almost identically how they'll come around in lap 1. First car to really break out of line is Nick Whalen in that 00. He dips to the inside and will grab a spot, as now your new race leader out front is Dereck Agee out of Huntsville, Missouri. Agee, sponsored by Agee Plumbing, CNR Transmission, Wicked Ranch Auto. A remain and a good restart by Dereck Agee up front. Randy Richards' engine, that's a Terminator chassis, as now it's 3 wide for second. Big mover so far has been Nick Whalen, as he gets a little contact there with Wettengill. That will allow Gary Donaldson to get out away from that 3-car mess. Have second place all to his own right now, as it's still a 2-car battle. Now it's a 3-car battle. Good move of dipping inside, but he goes in too hot into turn 2. That is the 31 next season. Our typical street stocks will have a 1-year cushion to get their cars geared up for this USRA series. And then in 2022, it will become a full-time staple here in our Big Adventure RV Weekly Racing Series. Good run by Donaldson on the restart. He challenged off of turn 2, but Dereck Agee says no way. He will get back out in front by 2 car lengths over the 28. And here's Nick Whalen again, the 00 right up in the mix, as he is 3rd in the Mamba line. Before he dips down, he's going to look for that second spot. Can he hold that line? No, it's the 28 of Donaldson that gets back around him on the outside. Again, 15 laps for our feature here tonight for our USRA Stock Cars. That will complete lap number 5. And Donaldson back to work again on the inside of Dereck Agee.
It's where he gets his best run, Shane. Donaldson's been really good off of turn number 2. He hasn't had the same success working through 3 and 4, and that's usually where Agee gets to that about a half a second lead back as he fires off of turn number 4. Now all of a sudden, Nick Whalen has a challenge for 3rd as Wettengill has pulled that purple 91 up alongside that pair of Moon Eyes, the 00 of Whalen. Now Wettengill falls back, and he'll be side by side with him as our leaders come off of turn number 4.
So dipping to the inside didn't work for Gary Donaldson. He'll try the high line over in 3 and 4. Didn't work for him, as now the side-by-side battle for 1st, side-by-side battle for 3rd. Donaldson to the inside. Can he make it stick this time? As he comes off of turn 4 and at the line, another good run off the high line, just using that cushion to his advantage is Dereck Agee as he leads, but now Donaldson. Can he slide up in front? No, still can't pull off the slider in turn 2. Great battle with these 2 stock cars for that top spot.
You've got a 3-car battle back behind them for 3rd. Wettengill has taken it away now from Whalen. And all of a sudden, Brett Heater has inserted his name into the race for one of those spots there, as it's a battle with 3rd, 4th, and 5th running back behind as it continues to be side-by-side racing up front. Agee by a nose will lead it with 5 laps to go.
Donaldson has, in the last couple of laps, had the advantage off of this turn right here. In turn 2, he was able to get out in front, but this time it's Agee that has the advantage. Inside didn't work. Try the outside again for Donaldson as he drifts up high on the track. With 5 to go, he's going to try to run that high line and see if he can get around the 14 and make the pass complete. Still not able to do it. Drives it in a little harder in turn 3. Can he get the run off of turn 4? At the line, he will this time. Change for the lead. It goes to Gary Donaldson for the first time, completing lap number 12, but right back at it is Agee to the inside.
Donaldson with 2 wins at I-35, the 20-year racing veteran trying his hand around the top of the racetrack. What a run. He gets off of 4, and he's got it. Clear again here with just 2 laps to go.
A little lower on the track that time for Dereck Agee, and it didn't work as he's unable to keep that speed on the bottom side of the track. Agee's fastest lap time, a 19.693, but with that bobble over in turn 2, that will let Donaldson get out to a 3-car length advantage with 1 to go. He took the lead over on lap 12, and he will lead the balance of the laps. Donaldson high on the track, way high, but he is still able to hang on to it, and a feature win will go to the Rayville, Missouri native.
Just your front row here in tonight's 29 car, 40 lap Summit Racing Equipment USMTS Modified A main, fueled by Casey's. To the green we go. Field will work down into turns 1 and 2. Dereck Ramirez to the high line. We're 2 by 2 and 3 wide. Throughout the pack as Hughes works the inside, Ramirez up top. Look out, Evan Hubert. He's going to drop a few spots as he is up and out of the groove, still trying to race his way back on as he made some contact with Lancetown when he was trying to get back in the racing groove. Nonetheless, he'll lose several spots in the 9 as Dereck Ramirez leads down into turns 3 and 4.
The gold digger was digging up the cushion. He was up and over the lip, and all the while, Dereck Ramirez, Rammer racing out in front now, getting in front of the 4-time USMTS champion, Jason Hughes. And Ramirez would like nothing better to try and right the ship. The driver from Oklahoma sitting in second in the point standings, and the guy he's chasing, Bryce, is mired back in the field in Rodney Sanders. It's been a rough go tonight for Rodney.
Absolutely. It was rough last night for Sanders as well, but the 4R of Dereck Ramirez also suffered a DNF at the Humboldt Speedway, so Dereck would certainly like to chip away at that points lead here tonight with a great run as he leads out in front. It's the 4R of Ramirez, your leader. Jason Hughes in second. Tyler Davis in third. Tanner Mullins up into the 4th place spot. Fido Gallardo to his outside. A good race for that 4th place spot as we see Terry Phillips try to work his way up through the field. He started on the 7th row. You see him 3 wide right there behind Phillips as well. Peyton Phillips, Lancetown, and Tony Jackson Jr. Zach Vanderbeek in that mix as well as they race through turns 1 and 2.
1 point, almost 4 across there coming out of turn number 2. There's just a huge pack of cards. Hollywood Robert Heidenreich. There you see Peyton Phillips and Tony Jackson Jr. They're all vying for position there. Phillips and Jackson Jr. and Robert Heidenreich all back just out. Dereck Ramirez will try to see if this field can click off a couple of green flag laps. A little slow start after the first 5, but Ramirez will see the green first, and we will go back to work.
Back to the green, 3-car race out in front. 3 Hughes Racing chassis went 3 wide for a moment. Tyler Davis shuffled back into the 3rd place spot. Hughes and Ramirez going to stay side by side off of turn number 4. Ramirez will lead lap number 7. So Dereck Ramirez on top. Again, a trio of Hughes chassis out in front of your field. Ramirez, Hughes, and Davis. Battle for first, a good one through turns 3 and 4. The 12 of Jason Hughes trying to reel in Dereck Ramirez. Tyler Davis still working in the 3rd place spot. Tanner Mullins along the bottom. He's in a side-by-side race with Fido Gallardo down the back straightaway. Those 2 racing side by side as we work off of turn number 4. Ramirez is still your leader in the 4R.
Ramirez enjoying almost a second advantage over the 4-time champ Jason Hughes, sitting back in 2nd place in the 12, and then all the way back to Davis in 3rd as your top 3 race cars are all strung out. But after that, it is side-by-side racing and battles up and down the front stretch with Tanner Mullins trying to keep Gallardo behind him. R.C. Whitwell trying to make a charge up to the front as he's brought the 96 into a position where he can try and vie for a top 5 finish. He brought that car here, Bryce, last weekend to kind of shake it down, tune it up a little bit to get ready for this exact race.
Absolutely. Races for Hoskins Racing Team, Hoskins Construction out of Longdale, Oklahoma. That's where he temporarily calls home. Of course, the Tucson, Arizona native in that 96T, a fairly limited schedule. But nonetheless, he races side by side with Fido Gallardo. And don't look now, but Terry Phillips has rolled his way into the mix. He started 7th row on the inside, and TP's ready to make a run for the top 5.
Well, nothing would make the fans in attendance here at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks happier than to maybe see Springfield's favorite son in that Don Babb Motorsports Andy's Frozen Custard 75 make it a 3rd win in the USMTS Slick Miss Show Me Shootout. But we've still got a ton of laps to go as you look at your big movers tonight. Hunter Marriott's picked up 8 spots. Sanders, 13 spots. Cars tonight that started with almost 30 just kind of keeps whittling down as we have had a caution-plagued first third of this race, or fourth of this race here, but Ramirez continues to be out in front, and we're going to have another caution now. 6 different cars.
Yeah, becoming a bit of a game of attrition here, as we've not seen much patience on display here in the first 14 laps at Lucas Oil Speedway. But we'll see if we can get it cleaned up in the next 26 as we're back underway with Dereck Ramirez to the lead down in turns 3 and 4. Jason Hughes trying to challenge for the top spot as Dereck Ramirez was working the cushion of the speedway. He'll roll through the middle this time in turns 1 and 2. Good racing action deeper in the pack as R.C. Whitwell works down to the inside of the 0-2 of Tanner Mullins. That race for the 3rd place spot works off of turn number 4 as Jason Hughes is chipping away at Ramirez's advantage. He'll drop down to the inside of turn number 2.
Hughes gets a good run there, but Ramirez gets a better one as Dereck pulls out by himself as he tills up the top of turn 3 and 4. Hughes to his inside, and Ramirez races underneath the flag stand to lead yet another lap here. Meanwhile, side-by-side racing back behind them between R.C. Whitwell and Tanner Mullins. Rounding out the top 5, Terry Phillips in that 75. Sitting back behind, watching Mullins and R.C. Whitwell go at it. Is a little trouble there in turn number 4 for Mullins. Will open the door for TP.
Yeah, Mullins jumped the cushion. Terry Phillips was not quite able to pull the trigger, but now he's within reach of the 0-2. Of course, Phillips started 13th on the grid. He's into the top 5. He's been the hard charger several nights in that Don Babb Motorsports 75. As he continues to try to challenge the 0-2 of Tanner Mullins, you see him drop through the middle groove of turn number 4. Take a look down to the inside of the 0-2. He'll drop back down the inside of turns 3 and 4 as well. TP on chase right now as Dereck Ramirez continues to lead here at the halfway point. 20 laps in, 20 laps to go. Ramirez your leader, Hughes in 2nd, R.C. Whitwell in 3rd, Tanner Mullins and Terry Phillips. That's the top 5.
Dereck Ramirez enjoying a 1.1 second advantage over Jason Hughes as they come back to the line. Hughes is starting to whittle away at it, now down to 0.8 of a second as the driver of the number 12 tries to reach back to that back bumper of that green, black, and white hot rod that Ramirez has got under his control right now. But R.C. Whitwell and Tanner Mullins not going anywhere as they continue to try and get up to the front. And all of a sudden, Bryce, Terry Phillips kind of falling back away here a little bit as he's all alone back in 5th.
25th starting Rodney Sanders. He used a provisional tonight, and he's in the battle for 6th with the G17 of Fido Gallardo. What a run right now for the Rocket as he battles Gallardo off of turn number 2. Again, 25th, using that provisional to start tonight's A-Main as he tries to close in on the top 6. Things tightening up 2nd through 4th down the front straightaway as well. Jason Hughes with company now in the 96 of R.C. Whitwell, as well as the 0-2 of Tanner Mullins.
R.C. Whitwell is just one of those wheelmen that you can give him anything. I say he'd probably race a unicycle if you gave him a little bit to learn how to drive on one wheel. And he is going to give Jason Hughes a handful here, but he's bringing Mullins and Terry Phillips with him. Those top 5 cars with a good gap back behind.
15 laps remain here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Dereck Ramirez picks up the throttle. We're back underway. Jason Hughes trying to hang with the 4R of Dereck Ramirez on this restart, but Ramirez will carry the momentum off the top side of turn number 2. R.C. Whitwell, we're going to try 3 wide for the lead off of turn number 4, and we're going to do just that. 3 wide down the front straightaway. Ramirez will lead, but Hughes and Whitwell now within reach of your leader. 3 wide once again through turns 1 and 2.
Whitwell giving Hughes all he can handle now. RC has moved across the country, now calls Arkansas home. Different job, different race car, but same driver as he continues to battle for that number 2 spot. Ramirez now takes his line to the top of the racetrack, and Hughes will get away from Whitwell on the exit of turn number 2. And here comes Terry Phillips for 3rd.
Yeah, that red 75 was fast along the top side of turn number 2. He'll grab 3rd this time by. He won Real Racing Wheels B-Main number 1 earlier in the night. Started 13th on the grid, and now he's into 3rd, looking for more as he closes in on the back bumper of Jason Hughes into turns 3 and 4.
Tanner Mullins trying to get a run on Whitwell in a battle for 4th and 5th. And Phillips now flings it to the outside as Hughes cuts across his nose. Ramirez still out in front. Hughes a little slow off the bottom of turn 2. And that'll give Terry Phillips an opportunity to close the gap between he and the 12 in a battle for 2nd place as Hughes bobbles it a little bit in turn number 4. But man, he gets a good run off the high side to stay in front of TP.
Those two just swapping lanes corner after corner right now. Hughes working the bottom of turns 1 and 2. He'll roll through the middle of turns 3 and 4, drift out on exit turn number 4 as Phillips hits his marks along the bottom. Now they will likely swap here, and they do. Terry Phillips goes the cushion. Hughes to the bottom. What a race for 2nd as we work off of turn number 2.
Back and forth they go, and the fun will stop because
win number 5 on the season. It would be his 2nd win here at the Lucas Oil Speedway in USMTS action as we go back green. Jason Hughes going to look down to the inside, and now we've got debris on the front straightaway. So yellow.
Debris and a quick green flag restart now for Dereck Ramirez in the field here in the 11th annual USMTS Slick Miss Show Me Shootout presented by Foley Equipment.
Great restart as we're back under green flag conditions here in Wheatland. Out in front, Dereck Ramirez leads. Jason Hughes in 2nd. Terry Phillips in that 3rd place spot as the field works off of turn number 4 to complete lap 32. 8 laps remain. Jason Hughes closing in on the 4R of Dereck Ramirez. Ramirez has just been smooth and steady along the top side of the speedway in that Cornet Lightning-powered Hughes Racing chassis. Hughes will follow him to the cushion on exit of turn number 4. Phillips runs in 3rd. Whitwell and now Jake Gallardo into the top 5.
Gallardo trying his hand at the bottom of the racetrack, but not able to gain any ground on R.C. Whitwell. Terry Phillips, though, gaining ground again on Jason Hughes, trying to get around the 4-time USMTS champion. He will now go to the high side here, run a similar line to Ramirez. Whitwell will follow him. That gets him a good run off of turn number 2, and he will have a shot at Hughes as they work their way through 3 and 4.
Those two veterans have battled the entire second half of this one. They'll race side by side down the front straightaway with 5 laps to go. Dereck Ramirez beginning to stretch his legs a bit out in front of your field, just under a half a straightaway advantage for the Woodward, Oklahoma racer. Jason Hughes runs in the 2nd place spot. Phillips still down to his inside, and R.C. Whitwell rounds out the top 4. It's a good distance back to 5th. Jake Gallardo in that 5th place spot. As you see, Terry Phillips trying to close the back bumper, the 12 of Jason Hughes. He closes right to the deck lid. Takes a look down to the inside, this time in turns 3 and 4. They'll race side by side once again down the front straightaway for 2nd.
They have been the show the second half of this race because while they fight for 2nd place, Dereck Ramirez gets to cruise. That 4R with nobody behind him for about a half a dozen car lengths and nobody in front of him. Ramirez here with just a couple more laps to go, Bryce. Not really even in danger of running into lap traffic. Skaggs, the last car on the lead lap here, and he's almost a half a lap ahead of Ramirez.
The race, no doubt, at this point will be for 2nd as Terry Phillips and Jason Hughes continue to wear one another out here at the white flag. Jake Gallardo off into the infield. He will finish his night 1 lap short here as Dereck Ramirez works down the back straightaway for the final time. Win number 5 on the season will come at the Diamond of the Dirt Tracks off of turn number 4. Dereck Ramirez wins at Lucas Oil Speedway. Hughes will finish second, Phillips third, Whitwell fourth, and Tanner Mullins unofficially your top 5.